The slide is believed to be a form of entertainment that everyone likes during childhood. Do you all like it? Once summer vacation arrives, surely all kinds of water parks regain their former liveliness. For large entertainment facilities like water slides, there is an endless stream of people queuing up. This is very attractive for both children and adults. Although these water slides are really thrilling and exciting, some projects are really beyond my reach, just like the most dangerous water slide in the world that we are going to talk about in this issue. Does anyone dare to challenge it? Don't rush to volunteer just yet. 6 years ago, when a 10-year-old boy was playing on this slide, an accident occurred, resulting in his death. Since then, this project has been permanently closed. The highest point of the slide even exceeds the height of the Statue of Liberty. Can the safety of everyone really be guaranteed when sliding down from such a high place? Let's take a look together at the real cause of this accident. My life goal is to satisfy all the tourists who come to the park. Let them have 1 or 2 thrilling experiences and make them smile. This was the beautiful vision of Jeff Henry, the owner of this water park. However, the emergence of a tragedy caused his downfall. On August 7, 2016, it was a Sunday afternoon with pleasant weather. 10-year-old Caleb Schwab followed his parents and 3 brothers on a trip to the park. Caleb's father, Scott, was a member of Kansas. The park provided free admission tickets to elected officials in Kansas and their families. Along the way, the children could see the top of the world's highest water slide from afar and were all extremely excited. Verrückt is the German name of this water slide, meaning crazy. It was built in 2014 with a height of 51 meters, which is as high as a 17-story building. Therefore, it also broke the Guinness World Record. Let's all imagine first what kind of experience it is to slide down from such a high place. It feels like falling from the sky. Anyway, it's certain that the adrenaline surges. As for whether you will be scared unconscious, that's hard to say. The way to ride is very simple. Tourists first need to climb to the top. The rubber raft can only seat 3 people at a time, and then it will fall from a height at a speed of 68 miles per hour. Note that this is miles. Compared to kilometers, it's approximately 109 kilometers per hour. When tourists reach the bottom, they will rush up a large slope and then slide down, eventually stopping slowly in the water, sometimes diving down, sometimes going up. Just looking at the photos, you can feel that it is absolutely thrilling and exciting. Of course, with the title of the world's highest, it has attracted tourists from all over the country who come here especially. Everyone wants to experience the feeling of craziness. Even if they don't enter the water park, many people are willing to drive specially to the nearby area just to take a look at this crazy slide. And 10-year-old Caleb was no exception. According to the regulations of this facility, tourists must be taller than 137 meters. Caleb's height was 149 meters, just passing the requirement. Soon, Caleb followed the team and climbed more than 200 steps of stairs to the top. Up there, the view was wide open and tourists could see the entire Kansas City. There were noisy shouts from below, and everyone's heart was filled with anticipation and tension. The 2 adult women accompanying Caleb weighed 125 kilograms and 89 kilograms respectively. The staff used nylon buckle straps to fix the 3 of them on the seats. But here is a detail. Caleb, who was the youngest and weighed only 34 kilograms, was actually allowed to sit in the first position. Obviously, the force on the entire raft was not uniform, but no one cared about this problem at that time. As the conveyor belt started to move, the rubber raft suddenly dropped rapidly at an unexpectedly fast speed. It looked very unstable, but it was too late at this time. The rubber raft landed at the bottom within a few seconds and started to rush. When it reached the second slope, the rubber raft flew out directly and hit the metal pole supporting the protective net. This device was originally designed to prevent tourists from being thrown out. Unexpectedly, it became a murder weapon. The 2 women in the back watched as the front face of the little boy was immediately cut into his neck by the metal ring. His head and body separated and flew out of the rubber raft and landed on the slide. As the boy's body slid into the water, there was a long trail of blood behind, which was shocking. The tourists waiting below were all frightened by this terrifying scene. They covered their eyes and mouths and screamed in horror. Among them was one of Caleb's brothers, who watched his younger brother's body be beheaded in mid-air and then fall in front of him. For a long time, the brother couldn't get rid of this nightmare. Dixie Sandifer was a witness of this accident. Before Caleb, he had already experienced the crazy water slide. He claimed to be an adrenaline enthusiast. The reason why he chose this water park was that it had more thrilling and exciting projects than other parks. Because it was a popular project, Jess also waited for 30 minutes before it was his turn. To relieve the tension, Jess once asked the staff if anyone had ever died on this slide. The staff said no. Jess also joked that there's always a first for everything. Although he had challenged all kinds of exciting projects, taking this water slide still gave him a different feeling. Besides getting soaked all over, there was also fear. After ending this crazy trip, his joking words came true just a few hours later. When Caleb had the accident, Jess was still eating in the picnic area near the slide. With his back to the slide and about to enjoy the cake, he was discussing with the friend opposite about the thrilling experience just now. Suddenly, there was just a bang, like a train derailing, and the friend sitting opposite Jess witnessed the whole process. His face sank instantly and said to Jess, "It seems someone died." The scene was in chaos and everyone was in disbelief, because Caleb was decapitated. The first aid workers, who reached the body first, took a look at the situation and knew that there was no possibility of revival. The faces of the other two women were also seriously injured. When Caleb's mother saw her son's abnormality, she screamed and shouted. He flew out. When she tried to run forward to check, she was stopped by the staff. She repeatedly asked if her son was dead, but no one wanted to say that cruel sentence. Finally, under her repeated questioning, she finally heard the answer, "Wes, your son is dead." August 7, 2016 was the worst day in many people's lives. The heartbroken family members, innocent witnesses, and frightened tourists are probably all haunted by this nightmare scene. But after the accident, people tried to figure out what exactly caused this tragedy. At the same time, the park's owner, Jeff, was pushed to the forefront. Since Jeff's father handed over the park to his 3 children to manage, they had a clear division of labor and were committed to making the water park the best in the world. Among them, Jeff was responsible for the design part. As the amusement projects became more and more exciting, the number of tourists increased. The crazy water slide was his idea. However, because Jeff had no relevant physics and engineering knowledge, he was only responsible for the design. The cumbersome and complex digital work was handled by his subordinates. He once claimed that he couldn't tolerate the world's highest water slide being located in Brazil. He wanted to make this facility a benchmark in the water park industry. But Jeff did achieve it, but later it became an indelible black history in Kansas. Jeff's design seemed exciting indeed, but such a dangerous project was not easy to implement. They needed to understand all the details of each link, the maximum and minimum weight that the rubber valve could withstand, as well as the gravity and centrifugal force that tourists could bear. Besides, there were also the influence of water friction and wind speed, etc. Although the design team was not short of engineers and architects, Jeff was a very stubborn person. He often modified the design halfway, so some projects had to start all over again, and he relied on the traditional experimental method, found a field and built a scale model. However, the experiment didn't go well at the beginning. Although the rubber raft, filled with sandbags, successfully slid to the bottom, it flew out directly when sprinting the second slope. The experiment was carried out countless times, and the project didn't pass. But in front of the camera, Jeff always showed full confidence. According to the employees, the most common sentence Jeff said was, "You go back and fix it. Make it work. You have to ensure its safety." But the experiment showed that the rubber raft was too fast and the gravity was too great. When passengers were riding, accidents were likely to occur. Finally, Jeff increased the height of the second slope. It seemed to work. After the sandbag experiment succeeded several times, Jeff and 2 assistants took the ride first. Although they didn't climb the slope on the first attempt, they succeeded on the second try. Since then, more and more employees have safely fallen, and the project was officially opened to the public. It seemed that nothing went wrong. However, these were all illusions. Since the news reported Caleb's tragedy, a total of 11 tourists came forward to complain that they had also been injured in this project, and most of them were concentrated in the back, neck, and head. Some suffered concussions, some would be tortured by chronic low back pain forever, and some others hit the metal pole like Caleb. Fortunately, only the forehead and eyes were swollen for a day, but there was no way to complain. The testimony of lifeguards and medical staff had already been tampered with. The investigators found that the mastermind behind all this was an operations manager named Tyler Miles. He often instructed lifeguards to submit false accident reports to downplay the severity of the accidents. At the same time, Tyler would also screen maintenance reports and try to postpone or simply avoid maintenance work. 3 weeks before Caleb's death, inspectors clearly stated that the slide maintenance was imminent, but Tyler still chose to ignore it. Employees who once worked in the park also came forward to reveal that working there was unstable, with a high staff turnover. There were always immature employees filling the lifeguard positions, and before the crazy water slide was launched. After the park closed every day, they would encourage employees to ride the slide to test the operation of the equipment. A well-known employee also revealed that he had expected this topic to cause trouble sooner or later because he had seen sandbags constantly flying out of the rubber raft. Later, during the filming of the promotional program, the host invited was stuck on the second slope and finally had to reshoot. How could such an absurd accident occur in a successful family business, a prestigious water park, and a project that broke the Guinness World Record? Who gave them the confidence to act so recklessly? The answer is superpower. A large amount of financial investment gave the park the privilege of a green light all the way. They could adjust their own safety standards and did not need to be strictly supervised by the state. To put it simply, whoever has money is the rule maker. If I really have to be responsible for the life and death of this little boy, I'll commit suicide right now. This was Jeff's original words. He always refused to admit that he designed a murderous project. But in the face of evidence, any harsh words seemed powerless. Many witness testimonies criticized how the park's management covered up safety-related accidents and most of the projects lacked safety standards, which led to fatal deaths. Finally, in 2017, the park reached a settlement of $20 million with several victims and their families. Jeff and others temporarily avoided prison, but it is said that not long after, Jeff was involved in drug abuse and grudges and still couldn't escape legal sanctions. An accidental incident caused an uproar. In April 2017, the Kansas state legislature passed a law on the inspection of amusement facilities, and the demolition of the slide was also put on the agenda. Of course, there are still many continuous tourists now. Many people who come for the truth are all for the world's highest water slide, but can only return disappointed. All the staff have been informed in advance that they only need to answer that it is permanently closed and nothing more needs to be said. Never thought that such a dangerous project would be designed so unprofessionally. It's really incredible. Pursuing the highest and the fastest blindly while ignoring the most important safety is really unacceptable. From once the pride of the city to a black history that people dread to talk about, the price and lessons paid in this process also constantly ring the alarm bell for us. Safety always comes first. Alright, this video ends here. Have you ever played an amusement project that made you scared afterwards? You can leave a message in the comment section below. If you think the video is good, don't forget to like and collect it.